In Cincinnati, Ohio, 18-year-old Anisha Smith falls hard for a handsome man with a shady past.
He was older, he was exciting, he gave her a lot of attention.
But her new boyfriend uses her sexual prowess to his advantage.
Her man wanted money, and she was willing to do what she needed to do to get it for him.
And their get-rich-quick scheme quickly spirals out of control.
Love can be blind, and love can be foolish, and love can make you do crazy things.
And later, in Dallas, Pennsylvania, suburban wife and mother of 3, Tina Young, finds herself stuck in a rut with dreams of escape.
Simply put, there is no excitement in her life anymore.
But her new addiction becomes a lethal obsession, and she will stop at nothing to get it.
Tina's simple and easy plan turned into one with a deadly ending.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. In Cincinnati, Ohio, 17-year-old Anisha Smith appears to be a typical high school senior.
Anisha was a good student, and she was very close to her family. She was very close to her sisters. She adored her sisters.
But there's one thing that sets her apart from her classmates.
She also had one child and was a good mother to that child.
With the help of her own mother, the teen mom is able to juggle all of her responsibilities with ease.
Anisha was very focused. Even though she had a child young, she was working hard in school, she had a job, and she also started a nonprofit organization to empower other teen moms and help little kids.
And on the busy mom's 18th birthday, she and her friends celebrate with a night out at the bowling alley.
They're all having a good time, but at some point, she ends up meeting this tough guy, and something about him drew her to him.
22-year-old David Bell has caught the eye of most of the young women at the bowling alley. Anisha and her crew aren't familiar with the new guy, as he's been away doing a year-long stint behind bars.
She didn't seem to be fazed at the fact that David was in prison.
David had a prior criminal history. He was charged and convicted of bank robbery.
What Anisha saw was a tall, attractive young man. Got braids, got tattoos. Bad guys can be attractive, and that was part of the appeal.
Although the teenager knows David is forbidden fruit, she still wants to take a bite.
Most young women Anisha's age get caught up in this idea of being with the most popular kid. They're much more attracted to the bad boy. David had street smarts and a bravado that was very appealing to her.
Even though David's still fresh out of prison, he's in no hurry to change his ways.
I don't think he really ever had a legit job.
His dangerous life did not bother Anisha. They hit it off great when they're at the bowling alley and became inseparable. And their relationship really continued to blossom.
Over the next few weeks, things move fast for the young couple. And it becomes clear to David that Anisha has a bit of an edge, too. And soon, his dark world starts to creep into his new girlfriend's life.
David started to include Anisha in some illegal activity.
The impressionable young teenager quickly agrees because she doesn't want to lose her man. Plus, she's intrigued.
David was grooming Anisha for his own needs, and Anisha was tired of following the straight and narrow and was willing to do anything that he asked in order to be his girlfriend.
The ex-con takes his girl under his wing, and he has high hopes for his lady.
David's plan was to use Anisha to seduce men and put them in vulnerable positions, and then he would come in and rob them.
He doesn't mind that his girl will be with other men, and Anisha is down for anything.
David approved of her behavior as long as he was getting something out of it.
Anisha was willing to do anything for her man, and he knew it.
Anisha was being manipulated and didn't even realize it.
David didn't really love this young woman. He was using her. No man who truly loves a woman would put her in a situation of sharing her body with some other man.
A few days later, the couple are out one night when they spot what could be their first mark.
Anisha and David's first victim is Corey Frederick.
She can tell by his bling that he's not hurting for cash. And Corey can't take his eyes off the teenaged femme fatale.
Anisha was the light. She dressed sexy. She came onto these guys. And when these guys were attracted to her bright light, David Bell was waiting in the darkness.
After a long night of flirting, they agreed to meet up for a proper date. David and Anisha's scheme is officially on. A week later, Corey arrives at her place to pick her up for their date. But things heat up quickly, and their dinner reservations are put on hold. David is close by, waiting patiently for updates.
While Corey and Anisha are having a good time, she's busy texting David. She's keeping him in the loop as to how this date is going.
Then Anisha makes a startling discovery.
You scared?
Oh, no.
Sure?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
She lets David know that Corey is armed with a gun.
David and his girl text back and forth and plot out a way to handle the situation.
The plan developed that Anisha would get Corey into the shower for the two of them to have sex. And in doing so, he had to take off his clothes and leave his handgun in the bedroom.
Corey was attracted to Anisha, and he ended up getting very lucky that night.
David sneaks into the apartment, and Anisha's date's luck is about to run out.
When Corey and Anisha come out of the bathroom, David's standing right there.
Where's the money at?
And he's pointing Corey's own gun at him.
You don't got no money?
In Cincinnati, Ohio, Anisha Smith and her new beau, David Bell, are in the middle of their underhanded scheme. She lures them in, and he robs them. And their first victim is feeling their sting.
Calm down. Where's the money at? No money.
Corey comes out of the bathroom. He's half naked with a towel wrapped around him.
Sit down.
There's David holding Corey's own handgun, aiming it at his head, threatening to kill him.
Do you want to die today?
David demands his cell phone and his wallet, and Corey can't do anything.
Corey hands over all of his stuff, and his attacker takes off. As soon as he's gone, Anisha lets the crocodile tears flow. Little does he know, she's pretending to be a victim, and Corey's buying her act.
Corey called the police because the weapon was taken, and Corey, I think, felt that if that weapon were ever used in a crime, that could be somehow used against him.
And when Anisha is questioned, she starts spinning lies.
Anisha tells the officers that the suspect was an ex-boyfriend named Josh.
His name is Josh.
She misled them as to his height, his weight, his physical characteristics, said she really didn't know how to get in touch with him, and gave a lot of just vague and improper answers.
Please lie to.
That investigation went nowhere, and it was an unsolved crime.
Needless to say, the couple's first date is also their last. And Anisha's first foray into crime is successful.
In some ways, she felt that perhaps she was really proving her worth being in a relationship with David. As long as her man was continuing to see her as an asset, she was happy. But the question was, for how long?
So after the incident, Anisha and David felt like they got away with it, and it seemed like things were going great.
Anisha is now feeling more confident because they got away with the first robbery. They're starting to aim higher to get away with even more. And she feels that their bond was getting stronger, so she thought that no one else was going to get in their way.
The couple lays low for a bit, but soon enough, the lovers are ready to strike again.
So a couple months had gone by, and this was an opportunity to get back out there and make some money.
The teen temptress is back out at the nightclub when she meets her next conquest, drug dealer Peter Koppel.
They meet, and she turned on the charm.
Anisha works her game, and pretty soon, Peter starts to brag about his nice crib.
So Peter kind of paints this picture to Anisha that his house is filled with a lot of expensive items, like TVs, a game system, electronics.
And later that night, when Anisha gets her tab, the high roller picks it up.
At that point, she notices that he has a lot of cash.
They exchange numbers, and the trap is set. Later that night, she tells her man they might have just hit the jackpot.
Between Peter having money and Peter possibly being involved in drug sales, that rang some bells in David's head and figured he'd be an easy victim.
With the potential for a big payday, the couple decide to take their scheme to the dealer. The next day, Anisha flirts with Peter on the phone. She lays it on thick and tells him that she wants to see him.
Come over.
The dealer takes the bait.
About 11.
He invited her to his house to hang out.
The plan was to send Anisha into Peter's house, kind of like with the other gentleman, with Corey. Get in there, do what you have to do.
David, it's on.
That night around 11 p.m., David gives her a ride to the dealer's place. He pulls over a few blocks away, gives his girl one last kiss, and sends her on her way.
Once Anisha gets to the house, she discovers that Peter's two roommates, Charles and Drew, are there.
I'm here for Peter.
Yeah, Peter's upstairs.
She's concerned about how this is going to affect their plan, so she texts David to let him know.
But her man tells her not to worry.
David's response is, "Don't trip, they're going to die."
With David texting Anisha that he's planning on killing someone, that should have been the time for her to step up and say something, but she did nothing. In essence, she had put her man's needs before her own.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Anisha gets to Peter's room, they watch movies, they talk, and they end up having sex.
When the new lovers are finished, Anisha knows she needs to get rid of him. So she sends Peter out to get them some drinks.
He asked Anisha if she wanted to go with him. She declined.
So once Peter leaves, Anisha texts David and lets him know that the coast is clear, but the two roommates are still in the house.
Once again, he coldly tells her exactly what he's going to do.
David says, "You're going to hear 2 shots. That's going to be me killing his brothers."
Well aware of what's about to go down, Anisha lets David in the house.
When it came to her man, Anisha didn't care about anything or anyone else.
She was blinded and controlled by him.
Once inside, he hunts down his prey.
It was after midnight, and the 2 roommates went to their own rooms and were sleeping.
Anisha watches as her man heads upstairs. And seconds later... And later, in Dallas, Pennsylvania, Tina Young has a deadly midlife crisis when she falls out of love with her husband and in love with a drug dealer.
The thrill of something new was what ultimately led her down this path.
Someone will pay the price for her dangerous addiction.
Anisha may have been fascinated by David's tough edge and colorful past, but it appears that he wasn't completely truthful about it.
Even though he portrayed himself as a big bad bank robber, he was really the getaway driver, never went inside, never participated in that hands-on robbery, so he made himself appear to be much worse than he really was originally.
It's after midnight in Cincinnati, Ohio. 18-year-old Anisha Smith and her boyfriend David Bell are about to rob the house of flashy drug dealer Peter Koppel. Peter has stepped out, but his 2 roommates are still in their rooms.
David enters Charles' room first, and Charles is sleeping, listening to music.
David just pointed the gun within a couple feet of the back of his head, fired 1 shot, and executes the victim.
1 shot, and Charles is dead.
After David executes Charles, Drew had thought he heard some noise, but the house is so big that he wasn't quite sure.
So David heads to Drew's room, but Drew ended up being awake.
And as he turned his head, he was confronted by David standing over him with a gun.
This time, David isn't so lucky. Drew drops to the ground.
He fired a shot and he missed. Instead of hitting him in the head, he shot him in the shoulder.
David fired a number of shots at Drew, so the gun was basically emptied.
After the barrage of bullets, Drew is wounded but alive.
Even though he wanted to finish the job, he had no more bullets.
And David said to Drew at that time,
"Lay down and die already."
Satisfied he's not going to get in their way, David calls out to his girl.
Anisha.
But she's nowhere to be found.
The gunfire spooked Anisha out, and so she left the house and ran to her car where she hid.
What are you doing? Get out the car.
David finds her and demands that she return to the home with him so that they could rob the place. Anisha really didn't want to go back to that house, but after seeing the look in David's eyes, she decided to comply.
Okay. Let's go.
After she heard that gunshot, Anisha knew that he followed through with what he said he was going to do, and there was just no turning back. Now she had to move forward with the plan and finish the job.
Calm down.
The couple knows they have to hurry. Peter could be home at any minute, and the police might be on their way. They grab the first few items they see and run for the door, but they don't get very far.
The neighbors heard the shots, and at this point, the cops had already been called. So Anisha and David end up hearing the police, and they drop whatever they had, and they both run in different directions.
in his attempt to escape, he comes upon a fence, throws a gun, and tries to jump the fence and is caught by the police.
Police found Anisha hiding in David's car underneath the dashboard.
Caught, the toxic couple tries to talk their way out of trouble.
Somebody came and robbed me.
They both repeatedly lie to the police. She tries to pretend that she was just asleep in the car. She knows nothing about nothing. He initially said that they were walking down the street and somebody tried to rob them at gunpoint.
I didn't do nothing.
Police aren't buying his story because they realized at that point that there were 2 people shot inside that home.
Drew was able to survive, fortunately.
And pretty soon, officers have all the evidence they need.
The police ended up finding the gun that David used to shoot Charles and Drew tossed in a neighbor's backyard.
It's a wrap for Anisha and David. They're arrested and hauled off to jail.
But the scheming continues even when the couple is behind bars.
Anisha and David communicate through dozens of letters, and it's clear who's still in control.
They're long letters, very cold and calculating. He's demanding loyalty from her. He's extremely nervous that she's going to flip on him.
David is telling Anisha what to say so that her story matches his story. The plan backfires. Anisha realizes that she doesn't want to spend a lot of time in jail. She wants to still be a part of her son's life, and she ends up cooperating with police and turns over those incriminating letters.
The letters help seal her man's fate, but nothing beats forensics.
The authorities were able to match the gun that was utilized to kill Charles Martin as the gun that was stolen from Corey.
Anisha not only turns in David's letters, she testifies at his trial a few years later.
David was found guilty of aggravated murder, aggravated robbery, aggravated burglary, and a host of weapons charges.
David is spared the death penalty and is sentenced to 45 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
Charles Martin's life was worth a lot more than a video game player. It's senseless and it's sad.
In exchange for her testimony, including admitting her part in the first robbery, she lands a much better deal.
Anisha pled guilty to aggravated robbery, aggravated burglary, manslaughter, attempted murder, and several weapons charges. With her plea, she was facing 48 years in prison, and she only received 10.
Ultimately, the man she loved proved to be her biggest downfall.
In the end, Anisha finally woke up, but it was too late.
Life was lost over greed, and life was taken because of loyalty and dedication to the wrong person.
Anisha Smith was addicted to the rush of using her sexuality to help her boyfriend rob her unsuspecting lovers. One state over, suburban mom Tina Young finds herself addicted to more than just love. In the rural town of Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Tina Young graduates from high school and is excited to start life. She has aspirations to work in the medical field, but those plans are put on hold when she meets the love of her life.
She met her husband, Todd. They were close to her age around 18. They had their first child at 19 and quickly got married thereafter and began to build their family.
A few years later, the young couple moves 20 minutes away to nearby Dallas, Pennsylvania.
Tina was a young mom having children, and sometimes that can work because a young parent can grow with their children. It can be fun. But if that young parent doesn't take the time to nurture their own needs, then that could spell trouble.
Even before she can blink, another 10 years fly by. Now 32 years old, Tina has become the poster child for bored, tired suburban homemaker.
Tina Young was a mother of three, and by all accounts, she was a typical mother. Stayed at home while her husband went to work and raised their children.
She is the epitome of the suburban soccer mom. She picks her boys up from school, she helps them with their homework. She's also the den mother to the scout troop. She has a routine that's getting quite monotonous and can be boring at times.
Oh my God, interception!
But it's during her son's busy schedules when they meet the Schechters. The two families both have 3 boys and instantly hit it off.
The ages are matching. The families are intertwined, doing a lot of activities together. It just seemed very second nature that these families would just connect the way they did.
And her friendship with Cynthia Schechter breathes new life to Tina's tedious days.
The two women become inseparable and become immediate best friends.
And Tina even helps her new friend out by watching her 3 boys on a regular basis.
She may have been babysitting the boys from time to time just for extra cash, but over the 7 years, she really began to think of them as her own.
The young mother appears to have it all: a handsome husband, 3 healthy children, and an extended family. But as the saying goes, things aren't always as they appear.
Tina is beginning to feel the challenges in her marriage. She and her husband barely have any time alone, and she begins to feel the distance that is causing.
It's a familiar story. Here she is, just barely out of her teens, having children with a husband. The real issue becomes that if you don't have the time to spend with one another and it's all about the children, then the relationship between husband and wife, it just does not grow.
And when this desperate mother meets a dangerous man, her humdrum home life gets all too exciting in the worst way imaginable.
Apparently, having it all just wasn't enough.
Tina's once happy home life turned into a horrific nightmare.
In Dallas, Pennsylvania, 33-year-old Tina Young appears to be living the dream. A mother of 3 with a loving husband. But her love story is fizzling, and inside she's starting to come apart at the seams.
The everyday routine of being a housewife, of being a mother, the day-to-day just eventually just really started to wear on her, the reality of her suburban lifestyle.
And stressed out mom is also not happy with the way she looks.
After having the last baby, she had trouble losing the baby weight. She didn't think that her husband was paying as much attention to her as he once did.
Simply put, there is no excitement in her life anymore.
But that is all about to change when she turns to an old high school friend for advice.
This friend actually tells Tina she knows a surefire way for her to escape her mundane, boring life, and as an added bonus, she's actually going to lose some weight.
Tina is shocked by what her friend suggests is the solution to her problems: heroin.
Of all things, heroin. That is one of the most dangerous drugs known to man.
The responsible mother of 3 just says no at first. But her friend insists that she at least take some of her stash and think about it. She even shows her how to shoot up. Tina reluctantly accepts the drugs. Doing her best to face another boring day, Tina can't stop thinking about her hidden supply. So the very next afternoon, Tina gives in.
Tina really wanted to lose the baby weight, and that was the hook. The possibility of saying, this is a magic pill. This will help you lose the weight. This will make you feel better. This will bring the excitement back into your relationship.
The desperate housewife shoots up, and the high is unlike anything she's ever felt.
Tina becomes enraptured with the drug. It's become her new high, and she definitely is not feeling those lows. She's never felt such a rush.
Within 1 week of her using the heroin, she was addicted.
Heroin addiction is one of the worst addictions there is. Heroin can be toxic, hazardous, and deadly.
Thanks to her distant marriage and her boy's busy schedule, Tina has no problem keeping her secret under wraps.
For her, for Todd, things continued to disintegrate. She thought, of course, in using, she was going to be able to regain that love, but it's not. It's just completely destroying what they once had.
A few months later, Tina's friend makes another introduction, and this one might prove to be even more destructive than heroin.
For the first several months of Tina's drug use, her friend is the one who purchases the drugs for her. But eventually, Tina's friend steps out and introduces her directly to her drug dealer. His name was Larry Tooley.
Larry's someone who's not a stranger to law enforcement. Low-level heroin dealer, but someone who the police are aware of.
He had served time on assault and rape charges. He always carried a gun for protection.
And Larry even breaks the #1 rule of selling drugs.
Never get high on your own supply. And because he did so, he didn't make much money.
There's an instant spark between the suburban mom and the low-level drug dealer. Tina finally finds the excitement she's been craving.
For Tina, this is another world. This is a bad boy. This is something completely different from her suburban life. This is the edge.
Larry became Tina's supplier. He began a friendly relationship with her, and he trusted her. So he eventually gave Tina his phone number and allowed her to come and pick up drugs by herself without her friend.
The second-rate drug slinger looks at the bored housewife as an asset to his growing sales business.
Larry's seeing Tina as an opportunity to build a different sort of clientele. Keeping Tina in this cycle of addiction is profitable for him. He is able to develop a network to perhaps even draw in additional clients.
But that's not all he sees. He also feels a growing affection for his newest client, and a second flame is lit. Then about 3 months later, the illusion of Tina as a normal suburban housewife vanishes.
Todd's eyes were finally open one day when he's in their bathroom and he finds her drug paraphernalia hidden way in the back of the cabinet.
Tina!
After hiding this for a year, it just comes to a heated argument.
We have a family to be doing drugs.
And she finally admits to Todd she has an addiction. Her husband doesn't want this life, these drugs, and its impact around his children.
What do you want? This or me and the kids?
Tina is in a make-or-break situation now. The secret was out. She had a choice to make. Either she give up drugs and work on her marriage, or continue with this deadly life.
At some point, the addiction takes over your life. So people do strange things when they're addicted to this drug, and leaving their family is typical.
Leaving her children behind, the drug-addled mom goes to the only place she knows she won't be judged.
She headed over to Larry's apartment in Wilkes-Barre. It's located about 10 miles south of Dallas, Pennsylvania.
After Tina comes to Larry, tells him about the confrontation with her husband, Larry says that Tina can stay with him.
The unlikely pair have always had an undeniable connection. And with her husband out of the picture, they now have the freedom to explore their relationship even further.
Tina had her drug of choice, and her new man supplying her. It's a lethal combination.
She never thought her addiction would get someone killed.
In Dallas, Pennsylvania, suburban housewife Tina Young is addicted to heroin and has just left her husband of over 13 years and their 3 sons behind to move in with her drug dealer, Larry Tooley.
They became more than friends. Tina left her husband for Larry.
At the point that Tina moved in with Larry, she began to realize that she felt like she had more in common with him than she did her own husband.
And it's not long before they take things to the next level.
She feels confident and strong and beautiful and out of this depression that she found herself in.
But as the weeks go by, the lovebirds realize their life together isn't exactly a walk in the park.
The lifestyle of dependency is just starting to catch on with the couple. They are using much more than they're selling.
Larry and Tina were not able to support and sustain their habit.
I'm gonna need you to figure out a way to get some more.
They're borrowing money off of family members. Tina borrowed hundreds of dollars off her mother.
But that well runs dry quick. Tina looks to an old friend from her past life as a suburban mom, Cynthia Schechter.
Tina has always had a strong relationship with Cynthia, but since everything has fallen apart, the relationship is gone.
Oh my gosh, Casey started his own...
The women do their best to catch up.
In their conversation, Cynthia talks about her oldest son, Casey. With pride, he's 16. He's been able to save up almost $3,000 to buy a car.
Unfortunately, Tina's updates aren't as upbeat.
Tina tells her that she's just at a very low place, desperate. Cynthia feels for a friend and tries to help as best she can. She gives her $300 from Casey's car fund.
Cash in hand, the broke mom quickly says her goodbyes.
So what does she do? She goes right home to Larry so they can feed their habits.
A few days later, the burnt-out couple blow through their last few bags of heroin, and Larry comes down in a bad way.
Do we have any more?
Larry is going through really bad withdrawals.
We got to get...
He tells Tina at this point there's nothing he won't do, including harming someone.
Make us something quick!
Frightened by her man's outburst, Tina must think fast.
Tina doesn't want Larry to go out and hurt anyone. She's afraid he's going to do something dangerous.
Cynthia.
Who is that?
She tells him about the conversation that she had with Cynthia and about the money that's there and that it's a quick, easy score.
She's never heard.
She explains that the parents are at work and the kids are at school during the day. And that's not all.
Tina knew that the Schechters did not lock their doors.
It seems like a foolproof plan, and the strung-out dealer is all in.
He needs work.
Tina wants nothing more than to make Larry happy, even if it means going against a friend who's willing to lend her money. There's nothing more important to her than this relationship with Larry.
The desperate duo wastes no time. The next morning, they make their move.
Tina makes the call to the home, making sure that no one's there, no one picks up. She knows at that point that they can get away with the burglary.
They make the 15-minute drive over to the Schechters and arrive around 10 a.m.
Tina pulls up into the driveway and pulls up next to the screen door that she knows is always unlocked.
She even takes one final precaution.
Tina exits her vehicle and goes inside the Schechter residence. She yells, "Hello, is anyone home?" And no one answered.
She is sure that no one is there and tells Larry the coast is clear. She then heads to the car to act as lookout. Larry grabs his gun just in case, and then he heads into the house.
Larry starts tearing the house apart, looking for the money.
Come on, money.
Larry doesn't bother to be quiet. He thinks he's alone.
But the Schechter home wasn't empty.
The two eldest Schechter boys are hiding upstairs.
Riley wasn't feeling well, so Casey decided to stay home to watch him and to skip school for the day.
While the drug dealer continues his hunt for cash, 16-year-old Casey bravely goes downstairs to confront the intruder.
Casey says to Larry, "What are you doing? What are you doing in our home?"
Where's the money? I don't know what you're lying to me. Where is the money?
Outside, Tina is oblivious to the escalating situation when suddenly
Tina hears the unmistakable sound of a gunshot.
Before Tina's life fell into turmoil, her whole life was her kids.
Tina and Todd not only were raising their 3 boys, but they decided to also foster children in the local community. They did so for over a period of 10 years.
In her throes of addiction, Tina has not only given up her biological children, but also her foster children.
In Dallas, Pennsylvania, while she waits in the car, Tina Young's boyfriend Larry Tooley is tossing what he thinks is an empty house, looking for a stash of cash, when 16-year-old Casey Schechter confronts him.
Casey heard all the ruckus, and he went down and he said to Larry, what's going on? What are you doing?
The irritable dealer demands the teenager tell him where he can find the stash of cash.
I don't have any.
He told him no. He didn't know what he was talking about, that the money that he had saved for his car was in the bank.
Where is the money?
Larry's enraged. Casey sees that. Larry has the gun.
But the strung-out addict doesn't believe him.
He shot Casey once in the chest. Casey pleads with him as he's bleeding out on the floor and tells him he doesn't have any money.
Larry takes the gun, tells him one more time.
Where is the money?
Casey is helpless. And Larry shoots him in the mouth.
Upstairs, Casey's younger brother, 14-year-old Riley, is hiding and terrified.
After the second shot, Riley was very afraid of what was happening. He broke through the screen window and then jumped down onto the ground.
Out in the car, Tina hears the second shot and is stunned by what and who she sees next.
She sees Riley take off frantic. No one was supposed to be in the house, so Tina's panicked. The plan's gone horribly wrong.
Horrified at what she might find, Tina rushes into the home. And her worst nightmare has come true.
She sees Casey, a boy she's known since he was about 8 years old, lying there bleeding, all because of her.
What did you do? Why did you do that? You're not. Where's the money?
She yells to Larry.
Is he dead?
He turns to Casey, puts one final bullet in his head, and then says,
He is now. Come on.
Knowing police could show up at any second, the couple flee.
Yeah.
Tina begs her boyfriend to explain why he just killed an unarmed 16-year-old kid. He tells her that although he only managed to get $57 off of Casey, he shot him because he could ID him.
Tina then tells Larry that she saw Riley jump out of the window.
Start the car.
Now that Larry knows they have a witness, he tells Tina they gotta get out of town quick.
The couple pack up a few items and hit the road. They hightail it 100 miles away to the dealer's hometown of Paterson, New Jersey.
Larry hits up a few family members, but no one really wants to help out.
That night, they crash at a cheap motel and use what little money they have left to shoot up.
After Casey was dead, it's no surprise that Tina went back to what helped her cope with life. She went back to that drug. That is the power of addiction.
Back in Dallas, Pennsylvania, neighbors contact the authorities after Riley shows up on their doorstep, and police arrive at the grisly crime scene.
This horrible tragedy taking away a young life, a 16-year-old dreams, 16-year-old hopes, all taken away because of someone's addiction.
The crime was one of the worst acts of violence I've seen in my 15 years of investigative services.
Detectives start with their only witness.
Riley was interviewed and told what he had heard and what he had seen, and that was the turning point where we were able to identify a suspect, which was Tina, and that led us to Larry.
Investigators launch a manhunt for the murderous couple.
Police question Larry's family, and they tell him yes, he'd been over looking for money, but was headed out of town for a while.
The very next day, detectives catch a break. The couple is spotted on the streets of Paterson outside a liquor store.
Larry and Tina were taken into custody for the murder of Casey.
Under the hot lights of the interrogation room, the couple tell very different tales.
Larry outright lied about all of his involvement, but during the interview with Tina, she admitted her involvement in the murder, and she was remorseful about what had transpired.
Tina must have felt a tremendous amount of guilt, knowing that she was responsible for her friend Cynthia's son's death. And now Cynthia would have to go through life without her beloved son.
About a year later, the former couple faced the music.
Larry was found guilty of murder in the first degree, burglary, criminal conspiracy to commit burglary.
He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Tina pled guilty to murder in the second degree and burglary.
Tina was sentenced to 19 to 40 years in prison.
In the end, Tina traded one set of problems for another. Those choices changed her life forever.
Tina lost herself in just her desire to please someone else instead of valuing who she truly was. Her desire to be wanted by her husband, wanted by someone, led her down this path.
What Tina really thinks is love is nothing more than the high, the seduction of the drug. She became so caught up in the fantasy that she lost touch with reality.
She never thought her addiction would get someone killed.
In Tampa, Florida, nothing gets between Courtnee Brantley and her lover, Dante Morris. Not even prison bars.
Those two were like the king and queen of East Tampa. People knew them everywhere they went.
But when Dante gets out, he does the unthinkable. And with Courtney by his side, the two become the most wanted people in Florida.
She was so blinded by love that she couldn't see that her man was a killer.
No excuse, no remorse, a killing machine.
And later, in central Indiana, Regina Miller is a single mother with her hands full.
She had multiple kids by multiple fathers, and she liked the bad boys.
So when a handsome young man comes into her life, she does whatever it takes to protect him, even if it means cleaning up his dirtiest mess.
When she came back home, he was there waiting with a dead body.
It was a recipe for disaster. He looks like the face of evil.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. In Tampa, Florida, teenager Courtnee Brantley is raised by a single mother in a chaotic household.
Courtney grew up in East Tampa. She had a rough upbringing, and she spent a lot of time with her grandmother, and they had a really tight and close relationship.
When you go to your grandmother's house, what happens? Get away with anything. And that's kind of where Courtney was.
By the time Courtney is in high school, she's struggling, both in school and in her personal life.
Even though she tried to stay focused on her studies, she got distracted with partying and drinking, and by the time she reached her junior year, she dropped out of school.
Courtney didn't have an easy childhood. This is a young lady who grew up in a very tough, difficult neighborhood. She tried to choose the right path, but it was really an uphill battle for her.
Now a high school dropout, Courtney spends her days surrounded by trouble.
She started hanging out with a really rough crowd in East Tampa. It was the kind of people you would never want your kid to be hanging out with.
She's in the projects, and she kind of found herself in the midst of just all of that chaos.
One day, she's hanging out with some friends when good-looking street-hard hustler Dante Morris steps up to the younger girl, full of swagger.
He started off like your typical young male, where he was this esteemed athlete. He also was a part of a rap group, and they cut a couple of tracks, which was pretty cool, so he was kind of known for that.
But spitting verses is more of a side project for Dante. It's the game in the streets that puts paper in his pocket.
Dante was very popular in East Tampa, but it was for all the wrong reasons.
He was the man in East Tampa and had a reputation in the community, so she was just enamored by that bad boy swagger.
And as she gets to know the dapper dealer, she learns he also has a tender side. In fact, thanks to their difficult childhoods, the two have a lot in common.
They would talk about things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to talk about with anyone else. And so they had a really balanced relationship.
Courtney saw someone that not everyone got a chance to see on a daily basis. She saw someone who actually opened up to her.
And while their relationship grows, The Tampa Kingpin's drug empire is also expanding.
He became more territorial and engaged and involved in turf wars, and Dante became more aggressive.
The dangerous dealer rules his crew with an iron fist. And along the way, police haul him in for a variety of offenses, from cocaine possession to manufacturing and distribution.
Sometimes Dante would be locked up for 24 hours. Other times, his length of time in jail would be from 4 to 6 months.
But while Dante is in and out of jail, Courtnee starts to examine her own choices.
Dante's ever-growing rap sheet actually had a positive influence on Courtnee. She started getting her life right, looked inside herself to see what she wanted to do better, went and got her GED, even started working.
Despite her best efforts to improve her life, for Courtnee, her handsome hustler is not unlike the drugs he sells. She simply cannot stay away from him.
Courtnee was hooked on Dante. She was not going to let him go. Even when he was in prison, she still cared for him and remained loyal to him.
Courtnee really loved Dante, but deep down inside, she knew that this guy was really up to no good. But no matter what happened, no matter how illegal, no matter how bad, they were going to stick together. It's clear he had a hold on her.
One March morning, about 2 years into their rocky relationship, Dante is out in the streets when police cruisers come speeding around the corner and put the Kingpin in cuffs yet again for a probation violation. And this time, the repeat offender will be going away for a while.
The more crimes you do, the more time you get. And so now we're not looking at 4 months, but we're looking at 27 months.
But Dante is not going away forever. And his next run-in with the law will put his loyal girl dead center of a horrific tragedy.
This crime led to the biggest manhunt in this city's history.
Why do you have a gun? Because I'm not going back to jail.
There were so many officers all trying to catch Dante Morris.
She screams Dante's name in rage.
She made the choice to love him until her last breath, and now she's paying for it.
In Tampa, Florida, 19-year-old Courtnee Brantley is addicted to her drug dealer boyfriend, Dante Morris. No matter what he does, she always finds her way back into his arms. Except this time, she's going to have to wait. Her man is locked up for 27 months.
While Dante was incarcerated, Courtnee focused herself, and she got 2 jobs and enrolled in community college.
But no matter how much Courtnee works on herself, there's one thing that will never change: her devotion to Dante.
She continued to support him while he was behind bars. Whatever bond these two had, being in prison made it stronger.
After being locked up for more than 2 years, he's finally released. And they pick up right where they left off.
After Dante was released from prison, they spent every moment together. They were hot and heavy, and Courtnee thought it would stay like that.
But the honeymoon doesn't last long.
He went right back to his old habits. He's back on the streets with his crew, doing the same things he was doing before he went into jail.
He had to reassert himself in the streets, and that became his #1 priority. And Courtnee was not prepared for that.
Adding fuel to the fire, over the next few weeks, there's some disturbing talk around town.
So Courtnee started to hear these rumors that were kind of navigating through East Tampa that Dante was connected to the murder of 3 individuals in the area.
Girl, who told you that?
And Courtnee decided, I'm going to turn a blind eye.
But he's not a killer. He wouldn't do that. No.
Courtnee really felt that Dante was the best thing in her life, and he felt the same way about her. So at this point, she was in complete denial about those murders, and the last thing she wanted to do was face the reality as to who this person really was.
But the lovesick girl won't be able to live in her fantasy world for long. Late one night at around 1 a.m., Dante is out drinking and partying at a club when he decides he's had enough and wants to go home.
Dante called Courtnee to come pick him up, and being the loyal, woman that she is, she got up and went to the club and picked up Dante.
They were on their way to Dante's house, and at some point during that trip, a police officer pulls up behind them, lights flashing.
Dante told Courtnee not to pull over right away, so she drove about a half mile more and then pulled over.
Officer David Curtis gets out of his vehicle, goes to the driver's side of the car, and was asking about the expired license tag on Courtney's car, and that's why they were being pulled over.
They talked for a few minutes about the tag, and eventually she gave him her driver's license and registration, and then after speaking to Courtney for a few moments, the officer turned his attention to Dante.
Sir, what's your name? Dante.
He asked Dante who he was, what his name was. Dante mumbled just a little bit in the beginning, and then the officer asked him again. He finally said, "My name is Dante Morris," and spelled it out for him.
The officer tells the couple to sit tight while he checks them out.
The entire time the officer is in his patrol car running all of the information, Dante continues to look in the rearview mirror to check behind him. He's getting even more panicked as the seconds go on, because in his mind, the police had figured out he was the one who had committed those murders, and now they're on to him.
Courtney's trying to massage him and calm him down and basically let him know everything's okay. Just calm down. We'll get through this.
Moments later, a second officer, Jeffrey Kokab, arrives on the scene. And the already alarmed drug dealer comes completely unhinged.
He turns to Courtney and he says to her, "I can't go back. I'm not going back." And it was at that moment Courtney noticed that Dante had a gun strapped to his waist. As soon as Courtney saw he was strapped, he pulled his shirt down to cover the gun.
Dante is like, "It's going down. This is serious. I'm not going back to prison. That's not an option for me."
Officer Kokab and Officer Curtis started walking up to the passenger side where Dante was sitting.
Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle.
And later, in central Indiana, when single mother Regina Miller sparks a romance with the much younger Terry Rutledge, she feels she has finally met the one.
When he saw Regina, he knew he had to have her.
But when Terry reveals a shocking truth, Regina will be thrown into the center of a horrific crime.
She was hysterical. She was upset.
And all hell was gonna break loose.
Despite Dante's fears that he had been found out, when the officers run his name, it isn't the murders that come up.
The patrol car computer showed a flag on Dante's name because he was wanted for writing 3 bad checks up in Jacksonville. In an unfortunate turn of events, it wasn't even the Dante Morris we're talking about who wrote those bad checks. It was another person, similar name, who they were actually looking for.
In the late night hours in Tampa, Florida, Courtnee Brantley and her boyfriend Dante Morris are sweating it out in their vehicle while police run their information. Tensions are running high as Tampa's most notorious drug dealer thinks he's about to be hauled away on a murder rap.
Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna need you to step out of the car.
He got out, turned towards the officers.
Turn around, put your hands on the hood.
As he turned around, he pulled the gun out of his waistband and quickly shot both officers at point-blank range.
Courtney screams Dante's name in rage.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Dante ran into a field and didn't look back.
Courtney didn't know what to do, so she just pressed the accelerator and took off.
Moments later, Courtney's cell phone rings, and it's Dante. He wants to make sure she doesn't snitch.
No, I'm not gonna talk to the cops.
He tells her to head to a friend's apartment and to hide the car. Terrified, she does what she's told.
Courtney was in total and complete shock when she saw that Dante had murdered these officers point blank, but she was prepared to stand by him no matter what the consequences were. She would do anything to protect him.
Yes, I understand.
Have you ever heard of the term, snitches get stitches? Well, there's a reason for that. He didn't call her to find out if she was okay. He didn't call her to explain to her what had happened. He wanted to make sure that Courtney was not going to snitch.
Aware of what's at stake, the faithful girlfriend obeys. She drives to a friend's apartment 3 miles away from the shooting and stashes her car. She texts her man the moment it's done.
Courtnee proved her loyalty by saying, "Till death do us part." It was a vow they had never taken in a church. It was a vow they had never taken for the state, but it was something that she was saying to him. She wanted Dante to know, "I'm here forever, no matter what."
She was going to do whatever she needed to do to make sure that her man was not going to be caught, even if it meant putting herself at risk.
The city of Tampa has been rocked to the core. As the entire force mourns its 2 fallen officers, investigators get to work. When they arrive on the scene, they find an overwhelming amount of evidence, including Courtnee's license, the officer's notepad with Dante's full name, and a dashcam video that has a clear image of the 2 perps. Dante and Courtnee are instantly the most wanted people in Florida.
The manhunt was like nothing Tampa had seen ever before. They had lost 2 of their own, and now there was a killer on the loose who did not care about human life.
10 hours after Officers Curtis and Kokab are shot in cold blood, police spot Courtnee's red car in an apartment building parking lot. Police officers go door to door, searching for the killers. They are closing in on Courtnee, who has been hiding out at her friend's apartment.
When they finally knocked on the door where Courtnee was, she came to the door and she actually admitted that she was the person they were looking for and that she was at the scene of the murder. She was quite composed and cooperated with the law enforcement.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Courtnee is hauled in for questioning. Detectives sweat her for over 6 hours, but Courtnee can't be swayed. She made a vow to Dante and is staying loyal.
Who was with you? I do not know.
During the entire questioning process, Courtnee refused to turn on Dante. She was asked more than 100 times to give up the name of the person she was with, and she wouldn't do it.
I'm not giving him up.
It's really difficult to try to understand what was going on in Courtnee's mind throughout those hours and hours of being interrogated by the police. Courtnee was a smart girl. She knew that the Tampa police were going to try to solve this case in any way they could, so she was just delaying them as much as possible, and if nothing else, trying to prove to her man how faithful she could really be.
Despite extreme pressure, Courtnee never breaks. And while police are getting nowhere with the loyal girlfriend, her cop-killing boyfriend is still at large.
There were so many officers, authorities from different areas and different agencies all trying to catch Dante Morris. There was even a $100,000 reward being offered for anyone who could help with his capture.
The police knew that this man was a street man. He was a drug dealer. So they took to the street to find him. And there was one dealer who was more than happy to talk. And he told them exactly where they can find Dante Morris.
Dante was located at his lawyer's office and finally arrested after 4 days being on the run.
He's charged with the murder of both officers. And his gun is also linked to 2 of the other murders that Courtnee had written off as mere rumor.
And with that, they were able to connect Dante to those other murders.
He is convicted in each of those cases and is given multiple death sentences. And Courtnee faces a rarely used offense.
Courtnee was charged with misprison of a felony, something a lot of people don't hear about often, but basically that means she failed to report knowing about a felony that took place.
Courtnee manages to spend the next 5 years out of prison fighting her case, and in the process becomes a local sensation.
She became this popular media girl who was seen as, fighting her case and kind of going back and forth with the court systems. But eventually she ended up being charged and sentenced to 1 year and 1 day.
He was a selfish man. If he really cared about Courtnee, do you think that he would have put her in that sort of situation?
She loved him, but he loved the streets way more than he loved her.
Courtnee proved to her man that she stayed faithful till the bitter end. But really, what did she get out of it? She went from visiting her man in jail to actually now being incarcerated in jail. Hopefully, when Courtnee's released, she'll be able to move in a positive direction once and for all.
Courtnee Brantley did everything in her power to protect her man right up to the bitter end. But in Indiana, how far is Regina Miller willing to go to clean up her new boyfriend's mess? In the small town of Muncie, Indiana, 36-year-old Regina Miller is doing all she can just to get by.
Regina was a single mother. She worked off and on for various stretches of time to provide for her and her family.
These days, she's on her feet for 10-hour shifts at the local diner.
It was stressful trying to make ends meet with her children and just having a waitressing job. She was living day to day, trying to afford her bills and try to take care of the kids.
And the young mother has a lot of mouths to feed.
She had multiple kids, although she wasn't very old. Because she started having kids so young, she had kids from elementary all the way up until the kids that were in the 20s.
Her 20-year-old son does his best to help out with the younger ones while she's at work. But for the most part, Regina is on her own.
Her house was pretty much in disarray, mattresses on the floor for the kids, food and a lot of dirty dishes. They had very little.
Regina has never had a consistent man in her life.
She would meet a guy, she would fall in love, and then she would get pregnant. And those guys never really stuck around.
There are some women who perhaps have poor self-esteem. They feel that they don't deserve a really good man in their lives. We see that they look for the excitement in someone who has an edge, someone who can take them out of that humdrum existence that they have.
But the struggling mom is not ready to give up on love.
She still held out hope that one day she would find Mr. Right, and Mr. Right would not only accept her, but also accept all of her kids.
Life finally starts to look up for Regina when she lucks upon the perfect house to rent for her growing family. Not only is it bigger, but it's cheaper.
She finally found a place where all of her kids had a comfortable space, everybody could live in that house, and they loved that place.
The single mother is settling into her new digs when one day a young, handsome stranger comes into her life. Her new landlord's 24-year-old nephew, Terry Rutledge.
The landlord came over to Regina's house and Terry came with him, and that's how they met.
She found him to be engaging and fun. He had a muscular type build. He was charming, a good time, fun to be with.
The attractive younger man appears to be full of swagger and charisma, but in reality, he's no saint with a lengthy rap sheet.
We were familiar with Terry Rutledge, and he had a record here in Muncie with domestic battery and theft.
Terry has recently been released from prison and has been crashing at his uncle's home. But his shady past doesn't bother the older woman, who is 12 years his senior.
Regina knew that Terry had been in prison, and she was obviously okay with that.
And Regina is just the ex-con's type.
He loved older women, and when he saw Regina, he knew he had to have her.
Regina most likely accepted Terry, one, because he was someone who can take her away from that very boring life, but the other part of that being that she was a loving mom, he had showed an interest in her children, and this, for her, was the complete package.
The couple have a clear chemistry, and it's not long before their sexual tension turns into a physical relationship. But within a few short weeks, the man who's stolen Regina's heart shows his true colors and destroys her life.
It was a recipe for disaster.
He was a user, a master manipulator, the personification of Jekyll and Hyde.
Single mother Regina Miller's life finally appears to be on track in Muncie, Indiana. She's in a new house and she has a new boyfriend, a charming ex-con who's good with her kids, Terry Rutledge.
Normally, Regina would be hesitant to bring a guy around her kids, especially so soon. But something about Terry He seemed to like her kids, seemed to have a good relationship with them.
One thing is clear. The young mom is head over heels for her rugged beau.
And the next thing you knew, Terry was there all the time. They were spending nights and days, and Terry was becoming a part of Regina's life.
But the bad boy is also a bit of a playboy. And he's not spending all his time with Regina. He's seeing other women on the slide.
Terry had been involved with what we would kind of look at or label as maybe vulnerable women.
Top on Terry's list is Tanya Ingram. And like Regina, she's a single mother of 3, but she's also a grandmother of 4.
While Regina thought she was having a nice home with the man she loved, not only was Terry hooking up and having sex with her, but he was also hooking up with the grandmother as well, and neither one knew about each other.
One chilly December morning, Regina sees her kids off to school. She kisses her love goodbye and heads out to run a few errands before work.
While Regina was away, Terry decided that he wanted to play.
Terry met up with Tanya. He accompanied Tanya while she was running several errands.
And I think by all appearances, it looked as though they were a couple and they were quite chummy that day.
Tired of shopping, Terry's ready to get Tanya alone. With the kids at school and Regina at work, he knows her house is empty. So he suggests they head over there.
Terry and Tanya didn't have a vehicle, so they rode the bus a couple different times that day to different places.
At some point, Terry talked Tanya into going to Regina's house. I don't know that Tanya knew that that was Regina's house, but there's no question that they ended up there in the early afternoon.
Terry decided they were going to have sex before Regina got home.
And the hot and heavy lovers don't even make it to the bedroom. They get down to business right on the couch in Regina's living room.
He had the audacity to bring another woman into Regina's house. Who knows why Terry would do something so stupid, so disrespectful? Maybe he got a thrill from being able to manipulate the situation, or maybe subconsciously he wanted to get caught.
And just as things are getting interesting, Terry hears a car door slam.
At that point, Terry encourages Tanya to run down into the basement.
Unless you're going to have a threesome, you're going to have to hide one girlfriend from the other, particularly when you're using her house without her knowledge.
Hello? Terry?
Confused, Tanya does as she's told. She didn't think twice about whose house they were in initially, but it's now crystal clear they are not in Terry's house.
Tanya realized that she was actually at another woman's home, and she became upset.
She wants to know what's going on. She's not being quiet like he wants her to be.
Regina was supporting him. She was giving him a place to live. So he wanted to do everything he could to keep Tanya quiet so he could hide his secret. Because if Tanya met Regina, all hell was going to break loose.
With Regina standing just a few feet above their heads, Terry runs out of patience.
Stop being so loud. Where you going?
He wrapped his arm around her throat and did what he thought he had to do to keep her mouth shut.
Tanya struggles as the large man overpowers her.
Terry was cold-blooded, calculated.
He looked like the face of evil.
In Muncie, Indiana, 36-year-old single mother Regina Miller returns to her house to get ready for work. She thinks she's home alone, but in the basement, her boyfriend Terry is desperately trying to keep his other girlfriend Tanya quiet.
He wrapped his arm around her throat, put her in a chokehold, and just kept squeezing.
While attempting to keep her quiet, he strangles Tanya with one arm and puts his free hand over her nose and mouth to silence her.
She's reaching up, trying to scratch his face to get him off of her.
Tanya was fighting for her life.
The two struggle for a few moments, but Tanya is no match for Terry's sheer force.
He had just killed Tanya. Her body is just laying there on the floor in the basement.
Meanwhile, Regina is upstairs changing into her work uniform and hears nothing.
She only entered the house for 1 or 2 minutes before she went to work.
The killer ex-con is now alone in the house with a serious situation on his hands.
He was essentially stuck at that house with a dead body and just was trying desperately to find a way to get himself out of there and possibly the body as well.
Regina works a hard day at the diner, and the single mom has no idea of the horrors that have unfolded in her basement. Before she heads home, her phone starts lighting up.
He texts Regina while she's at work and tells Regina, "I need your help, I need it fast." And they go from there.
When she asks why, Terry admits that he's done something bad, and without her, he's going to jail. And the texts keep coming.
One of the messages had to do with him wanting her to get a truck, and he also sent a message wanting to know how down she was with him.
Although Terry had killed Tanya all by himself, here he is texting Regina, basically bringing her into this, trying to get her to help him clean up his mess.
And the devoted girlfriend doesn't hesitate.
Once Terry asked her for help, she dove right in. After Regina left work, she got a red SUV from another friend of hers, and then she goes right back to her house. He asked, she helped.
When Regina arrives at her house, Terry has no choice but to show his woman what he's done.
But you got my back, right?
Once Regina got to the basement, she saw her man, Terry, standing over the lifeless body of this woman she didn't even know. At that point, Terry started singing this sad song to Regina, telling her that Tanya was trying to break them up and he was trying to keep things together. He laid it on real thick, and Regina believed him.
She was trying to break us up, okay? She came in here and she came on to me.
Terry felt that he had so much control over Regina and could get her to do absolutely anything, even getting her to clean up a crime scene after he had strangled this poor woman.
Instead of freaking out or calling the police, she focused in on what Terry said, and she wanted to do whatever she could to make him happy and to fix this situation.
Regina must have had a range of emotions. First and foremost, she was probably shocked by what she saw. Secondly, she felt betrayed that Terry would bring this woman into her home, have sex with her, and now she was complicit in this horrific crime.
With her children due back from school at any moment, Regina knew she had to act, and act fast.
She knew she had to deal with the dead body that was in the basement, so she called her son's girlfriend over to babysit the kids while her and Terry figured out their next move.
In need of help and a plan, Regina and her killer boyfriend head out to do some scheming at the one place where they do their best thinking.
They thought going out to bars would help them find out if any of their friends or family were out, and then that they could, obtain some help.
Right away, the couple finds someone they can trust.
They run into a relative of Terry's, a man named Antoine. Terry decides that he's going to let Antoine in on the fact that he needs help.
Antoine agrees, but the couple keep him in the dark about what exactly he's signing up for.
It wasn't until they arrived back at Regina's house and ended up back down in the basement that Antoine learned that what he was going to be helping with was the removal of a body.
Terry was a hardcore criminal. He had street cred. So we don't know if Antoine maybe felt that if he didn't go along with the plan, he was going to be hurt, or if he was just trying to help his friends deal with this situation that they were now in.
With Terry barking out orders, the cleanup crew gets busy. Regina is all too willing to do whatever she can to help her man clean up his mess.
Once they got into the basement, Regina, instead of backing out, she went to Tanya's body and started clipping her nails.
They cut the fingernails off the victim so that DNA couldn't be found underneath her nails.
They had stripped Tanya's body. They collected those clothes and clothes that had been worn by Terry at some point in time with his contact with Tanya, and placed those all in a plastic grocery bag.
With the cleanup complete, there's the tough task of getting the body out of the basement.
At that point in time, Regina retrieves a shower curtain from the bathroom upstairs and brings it down to the basement.
They then wrapped her in the shower curtain and attempted to carry her body up that stairs, through the kitchen, out the back door.
Terry and Regina loaded Tanya up inside the SUV. Now at this point, Antoine must have been freaked out by it all and said, "I've had enough, I'm out."
Antoine leaves the couple to handle the rest. They drive off into the darkness.
Regina helped Terry try to clean up this crime scene because she was really devoted to him. She would do anything, even becoming part of a murder scene.
In the early morning hours, they drive around town, looking for a remote place to dump the body. But they're running out of time.
They had been working through the night, so the sun was about to come out. And the last thing they wanted to do was be caught in a car in the daylight with a body inside. So they panicked.
They pull over and simply dump the body on the side of the road. Then, she watches as Terry douses his victim in gasoline.
And then he just set her on fire.
With the cleanup now complete, they take off. But it's not long before motorists come across the chilling scene.
Eventually, people start to notice something is on fire alongside the road. One of those individuals finally calls 911.
Delaware County 911.
Yeah, there is a person burning. She's dead, she's laying there, she's on fire.
You could still smell the burnt flesh and hair. The smell of death was in the air.
As a waitress, it's a constant struggle to make ends meet. So on the side, Regina might have done some shady deals to pay the bills.
One of the things that she had done for extra income around that period of time was selling opiates or pain medication. We found evidence that she took part in obtaining and selling prescription pills.
In the early morning hours, motorists driving through an intersection in Muncie, Indiana, notice something burning along the highway and call 911.
There is a person burning. At least it looks like a person.
Police respond to the multiple calls, and when they arrive at the intersection, they find a grisly scene.
Tanya's body was actually wrapped up in a shower curtain, and that's how she was disposed of, and that's how she was set afire. When the police first were called, her body was burning. The police actually had to use a fire extinguisher to put out the fire.
In a city the size of Muncie, you have crimes that happen, but there was never a murder this brutal where a woman was killed, her body dumped on side of the road and then set on fire.
After helping him clean his mess the night before, Regina drops Terry off at his uncle's and returns home. Later that morning, she sits in her house alone, and the severity of the situation sinks in.
After Regina realized what she had done, she decided to take action.
Regina decides that she's actually going to go to the police and tell them that she had been forced to help Terry move this body.
So she called up her babysitter, and she had the babysitter come and get her kids and get them out of the house. Regina, actually still wearing the bloody clothes from the night before, walked to the police station. By the time she got there, she was sweating. She was a nervous wreck.
Police question her, and Regina wastes no time in giving up her boyfriend to police. She might have been down during the cleanup, but now her devotion to her man is all but done.
He said, look, you gotta swear to God you will not flip out on me if I tell you this. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, there's a body in your basement we gotta get rid of.
At that point, she doesn't care what happens to Terry. As long as he doesn't drag her down with him, it's all right with her. She just wants to save her own skin.
Okay. I'm tired.
I know. Yeah, I am too. So, let's go back. You go to help. What goes on from there?
Just continue trying to drag her up the stairs.
Regina went to the cops because she just wanted to beat Terry to the punch. And I think this speaks to the fact that he no longer had that power over her that he once did. The spell was broken.
And the longer investigators question her, the more frantic she becomes.
I don't know who she is. I don't know where she came from. I don't know why she's there. I didn't know what to do. I was scared.
She was hysterical, she was upset, and she was portraying to us that she was a victim of this.
That afternoon, police hunt all around Muncie, looking for Terry Rutledge.
They began searching the area around where Regina lived. They spot a vehicle that's actually being driven by his uncle, and he's riding in the passenger seat. As the officers are approaching the car, Terry exits the car and takes off running, and they have to tackle him and restrain him at that point.
When Terry is brought in for questioning, he has no concern for Regina. The ex-con has one thing on his mind: stay out of prison.
Terry's version of events changed multiple times. It was hard to follow along with the information he was giving us.
That's not even my house, that's her house. So I had nothing to do with that.
In one of the statements Terry gave to police, he actually blamed Regina for killing Tanya.
There's just one problem. Regina, who is in the next room over, can hear every word of Terry's lies.
I came to see what it was, and she already had the body down there. I don't know nothing about that.
In our office, we have very thin walls, and it's a problem that's been tried to be rectified for quite some time.
She's furious at Terry's attempts to pin the entire thing on her.
Terry was giving the police one statement. Regina was giving the police another statement. They weren't coinciding whatsoever, so we just decided to put them face to face with each other.
When Regina arrives at Terry's interview room, they get much more than they bargained for.
She was yelling at him, she was cussing, she was screaming, she was crying.
I'm dead serious. You're gonna do my kids like this for real? Tell me what day this happened on, because I sure the hell wasn't with you. Not up like that, so thank you.
Pretty clear that the love affair was over and that Regina was going to take care of her butt and didn't care what happened to Terry.
Once cooler heads prevail, Regina tells the officers there's someone that can back her side of the story. The man that assisted in the cleanup, Antoine Warren.
She told them about Antoine and how he was involved in all this. Police brought him in for questioning. Antoine didn't hesitate to tell police everything.
Antoine's version of events lines up with Regina's, and police finally believe they have the full story. They arrest both Terry Rutledge and Regina Miller for the murder of Tanya Ingram. In exchange for his cooperation, Antoine is given a plea deal and is given 2 years in prison and 2 years on probation. Terry Rutledge is found guilty on all charges. He is sentenced to 62 years on the murder conviction and 3 years for obstruction of justice. Regina is found guilty on charges of assisting a criminal and obstruction of justice. She is sentenced to 6 years plus an additional 18 months for both charges.
Regina's biggest mistake was being involved with Terry Rutledge in the first place.
This was a story about a woman who would do anything for love, and in the end, love caused her world to come crashing down.
Obviously, Regina wasn't perfect. This was a woman who had very poor self-esteem and therefore made a lot of wrong decisions. That poor self-confidence landed her in the arms of Terry. And in the end, it was this love that led her to her downfall.